How long can a game of XCOM 2 actually go on for? I'm talking about a vanilla game of War of the Chosen, no mods and no stopping the Doom counter with console commands. It's a question I've always had but could never find the answer for. What I found online were responses like, you can keep going into 2036, at which point you'll have done most of the missions and the game will be drawing to a close. There's no real point continuing beyond this point because there's nothing left to do. Which is not really what I was asking. I know the game will eventually end if you do all the missions and there's no actual point continuing to fight the aliens forever, but what if I did want to do that? Could I? Is it possible to defeat the Chosen, then delay the Avatar project indefinitely, creating not a long war, but a never-ending war, where I can play a variety of missions forever? Since I could not find an answer to this question anywhere, the only thing left was to attempt it myself. Therefore, I set myself the task of getting to the end game on Legend, then choosing an appropriate point to stop advancing the story and focus purely on delaying the Avatar project. For this experiment, I chose a story stopping point just before the Shadow Chamber is built. That's because once the Shadow Chamber arrives, the tone of the game changes, literally, in that the music takes on this more hopeful mood, and you get the sense that XCOM is on course for victory. For my theoretical forever war, I didn't want this. I wanted to stop at the height of the conflict where things seem at their bleakest. I also didn't want the ability to see what enemies are on missions, which the Shadow Chamber provides, since this takes a lot of the mystery out of missions. Not knowing and preparing for the worst is part of the fun of the game. As I say, I did not want to install any gameplay mods, but I did install some cosmetic ones just to give my squad some more personality, new clothing and armor options and voice packs. These are great and really spice things up for players who have played through the main game many times. The only concession I made was the evac all mod, which is quality of life and doesn't alter the way the strategic layer works or the missions function at all. So, how did I get on? Is it possible to delay the Avatar project forever? Well, so far it seems the answer may be yes. My never-ending war officially began with this save, made on the in-game date of March the 14th, 2036, which I made after the 3 Chosen were dealt with and I had reached the point at which, to progress the story further, I would need to build the Shadow Chamber. Instead of doing this, however, I chose to remove all the research facilities from the map until the Doom counter was reduced to 1 pip. We'll never be able to reduce the Avatar project below this, because in this forever game we'll never complete that final mission underneath the ocean. Instead, our task is to keep it stalled on 1 pip indefinitely. Questions about motivation may occur to you at this point. Why on earth are you doing this in the first place? Why do you care? Well, the same reason a person explores Mario 64 to find all the stars long after they've completed the game multiple times, or why one of my favourite YouTubers, Any Austin, goes around answering questions like, where do all the rivers in Skyrim come from? It's curiosity, plain and simple. Digging into one of your favourite games and discovering all the quirks is part of the gaming hobby and has been since the very beginning. The first Easter egg in a video game was credited to designer Warren Robinett. In Atari's Adventure, he hid his signature in a secret room. Who knows, maybe there are Easter eggs to find in XCOM 2 if you play it long enough. And even if there aren't, the idea of creating a situation in-game where you can play forever is intriguing, particularly in a game like this one, where your first run seems so desperate, all you want to do is reach the final mission, win somehow against the odds, progressing to the point at which you know the game well enough to manipulate it, so that it can't defeat you, but you make a pact that you promise not to defeat it either. It's like some weird demonstration of mastery. We do play these games after all to get better at them. Also, there's the fact that long-time players of XCOM 1 and 2 will be familiar with that feeling of just getting to grips with the game, having level characters you're fond of, then suddenly it's all over. You never get to fully test your ranked up soldiers with a variety of missions, do things like collect all the best resistance orders or weapon enhancements through research. Having time to play with certain classes is compelling. XCOM 2, just like the first game, never gives you enough time to fully appreciate the Psi Operative class, for instance. I've tried several times to get Psi Operatives early, and every time I've found it more trouble than it's worth, requiring you to sacrifice important strategic priorities So that by the time you have your psionic chamber up and a couple of rookies in training, you're losing to a much more advanced and deadly Advent. I wanted to experience all these things, but whether I could do so was dependent on answering that one simple question: can we stall the Avatar project indefinitely? I simply could not find the answer to this anywhere. So, back to the point of this video. The process of removing all those facilities took time, since I still had to manage my squad and make sure people weren't dog-tired or shattered enough to be gaining negative traits. I also had one last alien ruler to deal with, the Archon King, so it took a couple of months to wrap all that up. During that time, I discovered several things about stopping at this particular point in the story. It's a good place to stop, I think, because guerrilla ops are still happening, council missions still happen, supply runs happen, retaliation took place. So as the in-game date advances beyond the point at which the game is probably meant to have completed, those missions are still spawning. But I was still waiting for that artificial stopping point where the in-game clock would no longer tick forward. I was expecting a bug to occur, similar to the Y2K Millennium bug. A simple glitch that the devs hadn't accounted for that would cause the game to become unstable. This didn't occur, however, and I was able to remove all the facilities and reduce the Doom counter without anything obviously going wrong. The same bugs to do with the game hanging occasionally did crop up. That usually happens after a round of Overwatch, and on one lost mission, the lost simply refused to appear. In that case, I was forced to reload and generate a new set of guerrilla ops. But so far, touch wood, the Forever War seems to be progressing, or not progressing, as that is the point. Bugs are the main reason I didn't click Iron Man for this campaign. I never think it's a really good idea anyway, since you'll always encounter some glitches or other, particularly with mods installed. But I did approach the game as an Iron Man run, accepting losses, not save scumming, except to squash bugs. It was a particularly hard-fought campaign, too, with the Chosen Assassin and having one of the nastiest sets of abilities I've encountered. She was immune to melee, explosions, and Overwatch, and she had the Planeswalker ability, which means she could teleport after every hit. She encapped or killed the majority of my team, leaving only my Templar with barely enough health to somehow get a winning hit in with her last Volt. But as I've said before in my other videos about XCOM, these hard-fought battles are why we play the game. And in this particular case, it makes a potential Forever War feel like more of a reward. Here, you went through all that trauma, now you can play forever. And that's really what we want, right? It's why the Long War mod is so popular. The paradox that for all the heartbreak and rage-inducing unfairness of the game, we're also compelled to keep playing, to keep putting ourselves through the ringer for that dopamine hit when we win. But just for once, wouldn't it be nice to exist with a fully leveled up squad for a significant period of time? That's what this experiment is all about for me. Currently, it's the 29th of July 2036, and after a couple of months of the Avatar project being on 1 pip, a research facility has appeared and taken it back to 2 pips. The question of whether the 1 pip provided by the facility under the ocean, which we can't remove, whether that will lead to a gradual increase in progress seems to have been answered, though, for me at this point. Unless there are new facilities, it doesn't seem to go any higher, the Doom counter, or it would have by this point, I think. But the next question is, will taking out this new facility reduce it back down to 1 pip again? All the other bases were cleared before the Forever War began. Can we keep swatting new ones that crop up forever? The mission to discover this is the one you've been watching in the background. I'll do some commentary over the top and we'll see when that's complete whether the Doom counter resets back to 1. If that happens, then it means the Forever War is indeed a possibility and we may be able to reach 2027 in-game. That will be the next big milestone because I've never seen the in-game clock go beyond 2036 in a vanilla game of War of the Chosen. It all depends on this mission though, so stay tuned and we will see. I don't know why I'm so cautious still. But you'll have to forgive me with this gameplay because I'm still. I suppose it's the result of just playing on Legends and doing Iron Man in spirit and knowing that a mistake could lead to the death of a soldier. That's a hard habit to break, and one I don't necessarily want to break, really. I want to keep playing as if every move is pivotal. Yeah, so I got some voice packs downloaded, which hopefully you'll be able to hear. I'll point them out. The Psionic guy is Danny Glover, and it's a really good voice pack. Yeah, so there is a dark event going on at the minute, Show of Force, so there will be more enemies on this mission than is usual for one of these infiltrate the base missions. Very cool sniper that I've got going on here with the Archon suit and a cool helmet from one of the mods that I downloaded. Just to break things up and make it a little bit more interesting. And some of these voice packs, what I like about them is they might be, actually I should warn you, there might be some swearing, because some of these voice packs, they drop the F-bomb a fair amount. But what I like about that is all throughout this playthrough, the things that they've said with these voice packs are much more in keeping with the kind of spirit of how you feel in the game. You know, when you kill someone, one of your troopers says target eliminated or something, or you know, moving to coordinates. And it's good, it's in keeping, it's very atmospheric. They're the soldiers on a mission, but sometimes you want someone to scream, screw you, F you. And some of the voice packs have them running, oh, might as well. You want me to go all the way over there? Sort of stuff. Yeah, there's the Archon suit. It's one of my favourite armor suits. I'm not going to micro comment on everything that we're doing here, just trying to get to some high ground. I was reading up on the history of the making of XCOM 2, and one of the things that I'd forgotten all about was the modular design of the levels that makes replaying them less boring than the first XCOM, which were handcrafted. Every level was handcrafted, so there's no variation. And even after playing so many years, if you're an XCOM devotee, you know, playing XCOM 2, the missions are modular, so they slot in the different elements of the mission in different ways, so it keeps things somewhat interesting, even in vanilla. But yeah, I love that Danny Glover voice. The Grenadier is always my favourite to start because of the hollow targeting, and she's also got blue screen rounds, which does a ton of damage. And I'm doing here, the reason I'm taking a bit of time is just what I do at the start of every mission is try not to use my best gear and moves. And with that show of force and volume of enemies, like I don't want to use my most powerful abilities with the first two enemies, obviously. So and the thing with it being this so late in the game, when they're either colonels or majors, they have so many abilities, you have so many options. There are multiple ways to tackle a pod. So unlike the start of the game where you can do what you can, but there's only, you're limited by what's possible. On this late in the game, you see stuff like that happens all the time, doesn't it? You want to flank this trooper with one of your resistance guys who I got that card, and also the elite trooper there. Advent is helping us, and the resistance is helping us with squad each. You know, and you drop into the line of sight of a turret, but actually in this case I think he moved through line of sight, triggered it, and then dropped down into somewhere where the turret doesn't have a line of sight, so we're not actually in any danger here from that turret. I don't like to rely on the sniper too much, but sometimes they're just the when you don't want to use any abilities and you just want to remove them, it's a good option.
Right.
With blue screen rounds, and she's a sniper that spec'd more pistols than rifles, so that's why she hasn't got the hunter's Darklands, which is with my other sniper, who's more of a sniper, you know, long range. This lady Squirrel
I'm here.
can do
With a view.
a lot of stuff with her pistol, and she's got the alien
All right.
pistol that you get for dealing with the alien rulers. One of the things I'm trying to do, continuing to play, mess around, is to get an armor suit and gear for each guy. So at the start of every mission, I'm not swapping the same weapons between my troopers like hand-me-downs. So each of my snipers can have gear of their own, which is something I really wanted to do, always wanted to do in XCOM. But you don't get enough resources and gear to do that. You usually have a really good set of core gear that you pass between your troopers, and I understand why, but I always like the idea of
My vein.
a trooper having their own gear. And she kind of has now. She's got a plasma lance with some good mods and the Shadowkeeper pistol. I'm just doing this old trick of the Reaper is in sight of is spotting the turret, so the sniper can stay out of sight and just squad sight it. Because they can mess you up if there's an active turret in play as you're trying to approach a base like this. I mean, it's not devastating, but it can cause damage. I don't want unnecessary damage. Cuts down where you can move, and it will wrong foot you if you don't take it out. So I just, when I'm not on a timer, take a couple of turns just to remove the turret safely. That's Bane, my Reaper's voice. The idea he's a Ukrainian, kind of get away with it being Ukraine voice. Obviously the psionic guy is useless. I've given him the best, one of the best weapons in the game, the plasma thrower, another alien weapon, alien killing weapon, alien ruler killing weapon. But he, unless he's standing still and very close to the enemy, he's going to miss them every time. But with the specialist, I prefer them to have the Warlock's assault rifle, which has tons of ammo and allows them to use their Guardian abilities and multiple Overwatch abilities, which are rendered completely redundant if you give the specialist that bowcaster weapon. I found myself doing this a lot more in this playthrough than I've ever done before. The main point of the Reaper being to just spot enemies. So much so, I used them so much that I really started to miss them. But even at this late stage, you forget stuff. So I'm so used to using the Darklands, I thought I would have another shot with this plasma lance, but of course the plasma lance requires 2 actions to shoot, so death from above is less useful without the dart lance, and I forgot all about that. So I've left Squirrel out of range with nothing to do there. Don't worry, I'll keep making mistakes. Another reason to continue to be cautious, I guess. Fuse is a great ability. It's one of the most simple psionic abilities, but I really like it, just the idea that you can, with your mind, blow up explosives. I remember watching, when I first watched The Phantom Menace, and we saw, hey, that's such a good explosion. First watched The Phantom Menace and thinking, why don't the Jedi do more interesting things rather than running at enemies and hitting them with their lightsabers? Why don't they use the Force to blow up all their grenades on their belt? And it never really happened. Intriguing uses of the Force. We get it in with the psionic guy in XCOM. These are... Yeah, executing. These are two of my favourite people from this playthrough. My Grenadier, Brooklyn Blake, and my Templar. They've been a really good squad mates. They're two ladies, and I used a mod to give them some different faces. And like, it takes a while to get used to who your bond mates are, but they feel like best buds. They really don't know what that explosion was. They're proper bond mates. Bonded from the beginning. My Templar has Chun-Li's voice. I find with mod packs and the voice packs, what most people do clearly is, you know, creating your own voices, and that's the whole thing, and we're not all actors, so people take voices from other games and just create a voice pack for all the various actions that the troopers can do. I think Squirrel, I'm not sure, but what I tend to do is try to find ones from games that I'm not too familiar with, unless I really want familiarity. Like I've got Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, and also some customization, so I can create a T800. So that I like that idea that it's ported into this alternate world and is helping XCOM. That was fun, but unfortunately he died. Doing what he does best, charging in.
Better not be napping when I get to the other side. Okay.
So probably if you know the game and you know that voice, you'll know Gabriella, my specialist's voice there, but I don't know it, and I like that sometimes. It's just a little bit of quirkiness. It's a nice voice capture, but also it's something I'm not too familiar with, so it doesn't pull me out of the world too much. And the voice, I need to find the name of the modder. I will put it in the description of the video. He's done loads of voice packs. He puts the radio filter on. They're all high quality, all work beautifully, and really a ton of effort has gone into it. I will find the name of that particular modder. He's got tons of voice packs. Andromedans, I think the most on a mission like this that isn't like a final mission, a big boss mission, I think the most Andromedans I've seen is 2 in a mission. I think they count as a kind of a boss enemy. It's like probably a tier down from the big ball dude. What's it called? And the sector pod. I want to call it a beholder from D&D, but it's not. I was thinking about the best way to tackle these little puzzles. There are things we can do that were obviously not even a factor earlier in the game that are worth trying. But the first thing I want to do is remove this turret as a problem. And I'm going to rely on my Icarus jump and my awesome sniper pistolier. As you can see, she's got fanfare, face off. Fanfare allows you to fire at every enemy within sight. She has a lightning hit. You can take a shot that is a free shot. Then she can take another shot with her normal pistol. if she so desires. It's fanfare.
That was messy.
Very strong. And just take a normal shot.
Brutal.
Brutal. Never get a line like that in the base game. What to do with the Andromedan? So many options, really. And it's sometimes hard to tell what is explosive, what is destructible. That's definitely something that you take for granted now. But I think I could blow away that rock that he's hiding behind. But worth trying the high-level psi skills, which I really like doing. So we've got an Andromedan on our side now. And with domination, you can mind control with a lot of his abilities. Insanity can do it, Void Rift can do it, but you tend to only have them under your control for one turn and then they revert. But domination, we have that Andromedan now on our side for the rest of the mission. You can only do it on one enemy, it's one use. Actually, it's one attempt. And if you don't get it right, that's it.
I'll be on the
Just
other
got
side.
one try. But I think at this level, with all his skills and the most powerful Psyamp, he had a 90% chance to mind control. So a good percentage chance. Early on, it's very, very dicey, and you can miss a turn if you risk, well, trust to hope that you're going to get a domination. I'm just holding here, trying to pull the sector pod down towards me, because obviously I don't want to run in, because there could be other stuff inside the building. A homing mine is cool. Attach the Claymore version of the Claymore to the enemy that moves around with it. The Reapers get that later on, which is very handy. But I mean, don't we all do this? We use the mind-controlled enemy as the sort of bait to pull things out of the position that they're in. Here he comes and just completely destroying the building. The weird thing is that they, and of course, because you can play in multiplayer and you can play as the aliens, they all have a complete suite of abilities and stats. So it's fun learning them all. And you can dominate. Acid burn is good. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it on multiple enemies there. It's devastating against your squad. So it's nice to use it back against them. But the sector pod, one of the things that always trips me up, you know the mission where it says, this is full of beast-like enemies? I've been tripped up so many times because they class the sector pod as beast-like. Which, by the definition, alright, yeah, it does act like a creature, a mechanical dinosaur, but still, I think that's a bit... It's mechanical first. Banish is an awesome ability for ridding yourself of these sector pods and other high-level enemies later on. So he's hollow-targeted, and then we can just banish him. We've got blue screen rounds with the Reaper, so he does a ton of damage. There is ability that we can get where if he'd killed him there and we had this particular ability in his skill tree, he would move then to another enemy and start shooting at that, depending on how much ammo he's got. So still got skills to get with these guys. Thinking what best to do with the Templar. She's not done anything yet. We can run in, hit the flamethrower guy, and I think the Purifier, he can't actually, I think, not 100% on this, but she has Fortress, which means she's immune to environmental damage, explosions, ice, fire, anything. So I don't think there's anything that the Purifier can do to the Templar. Even if it explodes right in her face, it can't hurt her. Which is really nice. It's random what you get with the Templar. On this particular playthrough, though, I got everything I could want. I even got Reaper. What you want is, with the Templar, is Blade Storm as early as possible. She got it. It was the last ability that she got this time, so I'm only getting the benefit now at the end game. But I'm glad she ultimately got it. And she got Reaper early on, which is an ability where if you kill someone, you can run to another enemy and kill another one. But you have to be really careful with it, because one of the things that makes the Templar running at enemies worth the risk is her parry ability. But when you use Reaper, you can't use parry at the end of her turn to protect yourself. So on multiple occasions I used Reaper and forgot that and left her out in the open. Soulfire, which didn't kill him, unfortunately. And I wonder if using Soulfire would allow you to kind of neutralize the Purifier and get rid of the ability, the chance that he'll explode. Yeah, so she's completely immune. But I didn't know that for sure. Shield bearers, they're like never a high priority in terms of threat, but they're a nuisance, aren't they? You can't ignore them, because they make everything else on the map harder. That would have been nice if she'd did some damage, but sometimes it's just worth having a go, isn't it? She hollow targeted.
I still got her.
So yeah, I'm not sure how many pods that's been now. Let me do a quick calculation.
Ready to go.
1,
Got
2,
it covered.
3. Sometimes pods wander together.
Yes, sir.
Be hard to tell. And also the turrets. I'd never know if they count towards the number of pods on a mission.
Strength is daily training.
Good. For glory.
I'll cover you.
Bane, the Bane voice, I'm guessing must be from Arkham, one of the Arkham games. But I really like it. It suits this character. He's kind of like a grizzled war veteran. That's why, and with his wild hair, called him Wild Rider. It's been a long time since I wrote bios for them all. What I used to do was like let the campaign progress and then write a bio that kind of reflected what had happened to them during the campaign, but I haven't done that in this case. Now I really wish I'd recorded this particular campaign up to this point, but oh god, those long files take up so much space on your computer unless you're going to do something with them, and I really didn't start with that purpose in mind. At least I've got a playthrough on the channel, so don't need to do another one really. I wish I could say that I realized that he was not concealed here, but I completely forgot.
Let them out of your sight.
I completely just ran him into a bunch of enemies thinking he was in shadow, and he wasn't. So I am still an idiot after playing the game for such a long time. But it's an interesting tactical challenge, and because we've got people bonded and we've got a psionic guy who can give him an extra turn, we can get him out of trouble. And obviously bring the Andromedan forward as a distraction and do what we can with him. But we could get him out of trouble with Harmony, his bondmate. She had advanced teamwork Might be worth dual striking, I'm thinking. But obviously, if we're going to use explosives, we're going to be doing stuff, we need to get him out of trouble.
Indeed.
They synergize well, the bondmate thing, and you do the playthrough before this one. I really got it wrong, and had some very strange bond. I just clicked whenever a bond was ready. I clicked, yeah, bond them, and it led to some very awkward combinations. So I think it's worth giving some, not doing it, and really thinking: are those classes something I want synergized together? Use dual strike there to give the Reaper a shot in case she missed, but the Warlock's rifle in combination with blue screen is deadly against the Codex. So what's it called? The let me know in the comments the name of the ball. Hopefully I target it at some point and I can see. Gatekeeper, that's it. You were just about to type, weren't you?
Good thing I came prepared.
Now with all her powerful, great cannon, using just a bog standard grenade seems like such a low impact thing to do, but of course it's knocked one off the ceiling and removed the cover from the other one, so that's helpful, except when they do this kind of thing. But we should, with judicious use of skills, be able to do this. The sniper is going to be helpful. Remember, fanfare, she can shoot at multiple enemies and they're all on low health, so it's a question of where to put her, really, and who can the Templar reach. The Templar has, I've upgraded her movement. I've just sent her on covert ops where she gets loads of movement bonuses. She's got a skill PCS module that gives her movement. That's the most important thing for the Templar. She's got to be within range of things, so she can move something ridiculous like 17, 18 squares. She can move halfway across the map if she needs to. But nothing beats the Icarus jumpsuit for movement abilities. You can only use it once a mission, however. So, but I don't think there's going to be very much after this Gatekeeper and the Codexes, so we can afford to kind of fly across the map, hopefully. It's handy having the Advent Defector with us. Removed a Codex here. And I use them a little bit mercilessly sometimes as distractions. I sent them into risky positions. I'm just at the stage now where I'm not... I do RP, but I'm like... the way I reason it to myself is these guys are a little bit green and a little bit reckless. They're going to move forward and try and prove themselves, and it saves my guys who I care about. So we can do lightning hands to remove a Codex. We don't even need to use fanfare here. We can do pistol shots, single pistols. So lightning is free, first pistol shot is free, and then use
You're gonna like this.
3 shots in a row to kill it. So fanfare is the 3 shots at the same target. I can't remember the name, which takes a shot at everything. Sorry, I'm getting them wrong. That should be it at this stage. We've still got an Andromedan. I'm wondering if we can actually evac with the Andromedan. It would be nice if they could evac with us and we could take it back to the Avenger. The turns are cycling straight over to us, which is how we can tell there's nothing left on the map if there's no loading or alien movement.
Status confirmed.
The background.
Export charges are armed. Move to the extraction point for immediate evac.
Okay.
Successful mission.
Coming.
Early, I mean, throughout this campaign, doing the minimum of what you need to do is a strategy I've used, because things like this happen. And if you don't need to kill everything on a mission like this, and you don't, you can potentially you could send your Reaper in sneakily, plant the explosives, and run away without shooting anything. At the stage we're at now, it's probably safer to just eliminate things as you go along. But say your guys are tired, you've got low-level guys, you know you can't tackle all the enemies on this mission. Several times I've used a Reaper or equivalent sort of unit just to plant the explosives and run away. I think this is fun to do. Just one of the benefits of having played through the game and being at this stage, we can see if we can take out reinforcements in one round of Overwatch at close range. And it's bedlam when they start shooting like this.
I like the look of that, but I think we overdid it.
See if he hits this time. He did. Oh, both the most useless shooters. He can shoot backwards and miss. See what I mean? Absolutely mental. But I think on this mission, this is not the first time this has happened. Immediately more reinforcements. So I think unless you leave, this is another good thing of doing this kind of playthrough, experimenting. See how the underlying mechanics really work. So that's something I didn't know on this mission. There's that sewer mission in which the reinforcements just keep coming forever. But I hadn't realised on this mission that the reinforcements will just are never ending. It's like a theme for this playthrough, isn't it? Never ending. See if we can bring the Andromedan. And just do one round of Overwatch just to see if we can take out another group of reinforcements from the extraction point. Some of these guys still need to level up, like Brooklyn needs to level up to Colonel. There's a couple of others. So if they get some extra hits in, you never know. They've got I think about half of the squad is colonels. At this, half of the barracks are colonels and half are majors. No, that's more like it. The Templar missing with her pistol. We got another kill. Unfortunately, it was with the sniper. It doesn't need to level up. And the Andromedan, don't know what level he is. Alright, stop messing about. And that's evac all. It's so handy. It's like an essential mod for me. I don't. A lot of people, yeah, and mind control lost. He's not going to come with us. A lot of people advise stop wasting my time, which it's a good piece of advice. It does cut down the time things take, but the downside is that it takes away some things that I really like. Some of the flair and atmosphere of the game, like it removes the animations of certain moves, such as the gremlin moving to your squad mates, and I like to see that. I know it takes some time, but I like to see it. It breaks immersion for me if you take that away. No level ups. I did give Squirrel the sniper a cape at one point, but it was okay. So reduce the avatar progress. This is the point of having done this. Thank you for watching through to this stage. Let's see if things work as they always have. We can keep on top of this. July in the game 2036. Okay, and we're down to 1 again. Great. So this forever war, that's good to know. This forever war could potentially go on forever. You can see the 1 pip there at the bottom. Should have stayed on that to show you the avatar, but I think you already know, so we can never get rid of that 1. So the next milestone for me is, how many years can we go?
New course.
How long can you continue a game of War of the Chosen? Can we go for years on end, and will the game start to just get confused once it gets to like 2040 or something? Is that even possible? I really want to find out, so I'm going to keep playing this game. It's a long-term thing though to get to like 2040. It's going to take ages. So this is just going to be my forever game for a while, and I'll check in occasionally. Hopefully you're interested, you'll stick around, and maybe you're interested in how it goes. I hope so. I really want to see. I really want to keep testing things out. I want to level all my guys up. I want to do different things and try with this high level game that I've got, the forever game of XCOM. Sticking with the Iron Man philosophy, we're not going to do anything stupid. We're gonna continue as if there's no end to this war. It's going on for years on end. Yeah. So thank you for watching me. Hopefully you found it an entertaining video. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've got any suggestions for fun things to try with XCOM, anything like this you've done yourself, let me know how it went for you. Thank you for watching once again. Really appreciate it. I've been Napyet, and I'll see you next time.